Why would you be getting neck pain when you're riding a bike? In this video, I'm going to talk through a few things that you're doing that are probably irritating you, so you can hopefully stop doing them. And also a few little quick tips to help take some pressure off your neck if you do have to ride for either enjoyment or commute for that purpose. But before I get into that video, make sure you remember to subscribe below for all the latest videos and hit the notification icon so you get alerted to that. So without further ado, we're going to assume in this video that you're using a racing bike because that's the worst of all the bikes, especially when we're talking about neck pain. Some of the more upright bikes like the Bromptons or mountain bikes can be a little bit better for you, but these racing bikes do put a lot of stress on the neck, and I'll explain why. So when you're in your racing position, you might be racing to work with the other commuters, and that's fine, and you want to be as streamlined as possible. But the consequences of you being in that streamlined position, this is how we should stand and should walk around on a daily basis. Nice smooth curve through the neck and the lower back and the mid back, and it's reasonably balanced. Now when you're on your racing bike or other bike to a lesser degree, you're really trying to get into this position here, so you're nice and streamlined so the wind can fly straight over the top of you. And what you then do, because you have to look where you're going, is you have to crank your head up here, and invariably it doesn't happen like I'm doing it now. What normally happens is you take your skull and you just pivot it back like so you can look straight ahead. And that allows you to maintain that nice balanced position so you're aerodynamic. Now the problem with that is you're holding a joint in this position very compressed for an extended period of time. This is why you get some neck pain at the top of the neck. It also is quite demanding on the muscles that have to engage that movement for a long period of time. Now when we have extension, which is that looking up position for extended periods of time, you load your facet joints, which are these little joints on the back of the spine here. Now I'm going to hold the spine upright for this next part, just so it makes a little more sense to you. But when we then are checking our blind spot, we're extending backwards to look behind us, and that really jars these little facet joints on the back here and can really irritate them, especially when it's done repetitively, sorry. And if you're on the streets of London, like many of our patients will be, it's something that you have to keep an eye on. You have to keep checking your blind spot to make sure you don't get run over because traffic is crazy over here. So what you're doing by the very action of riding is you're trying to be as aerodynamic as possible, but you're putting your joints permanently for the duration of the commute in a fundamentally flawed or vulnerable position with a lot of compression going through them. It's much better to try your best to reorientate your bike so you're a little bit more upright and it puts slightly less extreme compression through that neck. Now, if you have to commute, that's great, but what can you do to actually deal with some of the pain when it does arise? So importantly, listen to your body. If you're getting some neck pain, don't just ignore it and carry on. Take some breaks from cycling if you can, get the tube into work or other modes of transport where possible to give your body a chance to recover, because repetitive stress on these joints only tends to lead to a more difficult to handle problem, and you don't want to be doing something that's great for your cardiovascular system at the expense of another structure, because the trade-off isn't necessarily worth it. With that being said, if you are finding that your neck is getting irritated, please don't be confused. Don't put it down to a muscle spasm. Okay, it's very unlikely to be a muscle spasm. That's not to say you won't have muscle spasm involved in the problem, but the reason you're getting the issue is because you're jarring up these joints repeatedly and repetitively, and that's creating low-grade inflammation, and then the muscles around the neck, around here, sometimes coming down to your shoulder blade area, will go into spasm and try and protect it. What you need to do is get some ice on the middle portion of your neck, calm the inflammation down. Possibly do that a little bit more frequently than you'd think. 5 minutes, a couple of times a day, especially if you have been doing a lot of cycling, especially when the weather's nice like it is today. People tend to get on their bikes more, and for an extended period through the summer, you might be doing a little bit more cycling. So use the ice, it helps keep inflammation under control. Second thing is actually trying to get yourself nice and upright when you are at your desk or when you're at work or when you're not on the bike. The best possible posture is important. If you keep your head up, your chest out, nice and good posture, vertically aligned, rather than keeping that bike posture when you're out of the bike or out of the saddle, as we see many patients start to become, you'll manage to decrease the extra time your body's under stress. So it's reserved for just the cycling, and then when you're off the bike, you've got a really nice posture, everything's in good alignment. The next thing you can do, one of the common problems that the cyclists do face, especially if they're seasoned, is they start to get this kyphosis developing, where they get extra mobility from the mid-back to try and get them into that nice position, and the ligaments, etc., start to remodel a little bit, and we don't need to get into that now. But basically, your posture starts to change and you start to round a little bit more. When you finish your bike ride, jumping on a rolled up towel placed around about here in the middle back just helps create an arch. So lying on your back, you essentially go like so, and it just stretches these structures out on the front of the rib cage here, and just realigns your spine a little bit more effectively to take some of the pressure or the one directional stretch off, so you can give those muscles on the back part of your spine a little bit more of a break and get them back into a more neutral position immediately after you've finished your cycling. If you're planning on doing some long cycling trips and you do suffer from neck pain related to this cycling, then do take some sort of rolled up towel, or even in your bag, you can lie over it up between sessions, so you really stretch out your rib cage, open out your thoracic spine, and that helps take pressure off your neck, so you'll be able to cycle with less pain in your neck. So it's two very important things. Ice on your neck, and do that little stretch through the thoracic spine to open out the rib cage and realign the neck with relationship to the thorax. And then also just trying to focus on good posture when you're out of the saddle, so you're not putting unnecessary extra pressure on that neck and making the whole thing worse. Hope you found this video interesting, and if you do have any additional questions with relation to your cycling yourself, whether it's for commuting purposes or whether it's for enjoyment, then please do comment those in the description or in the comment section below, and we'll be sure to help as much as possible. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting. Now, if you want any more of our videos, then click here. We've got a nice one on our Back in Shape program. Up here, you can look at some of our recently uploaded videos. And remember, click up the top above my head for the link to subscribe, and do that so you don't miss out on anything in the future.